footsteps we get to climb.
Near or far we have reached across summer.
From Katbaloga, Mercedes, Bahanas and Basay. From our halls we walk their aisles.
Achievements and awards now implies. Join us and we'll show you greatness of SSU. Summer State University, soaring high with excellence, seat of innovation, we'll build and serve the nation. Summer State University, it's the best for you and me. Your future and dreams come alive. So come on to Summer State University.
Summer State University.
So come on to Summer State University. We began to shine.
In little footsteps we began to climb.
Near or far we have reached across summer.
Baloga, Mercedes, Bahanas and Basay. From all we walk their aisles.
Achievements and awards now implies. Join us and we'll show you the greatness of SSU. Soaring high with excellence, seat of innovation, we'll build and serve the nation. Summer State University, it's the best for you and me. Your future and dreams come alive. So come on to Summer State University.
State University.
So come on to Summer State University. From our humble beginnings, we began to shine.
From taking little footsteps we began to climb.
Near or far we have reached across summer.
From Katbaloga, Mercedes, Bahanas and Basay. From our halls we walk their aisles.
Achievements and awards now implies. Join us and we'll show you the greatness of SSU. Summer State University, soaring high with excellence, seat of innovation, we'll build and serve the nation. Summer State University, it's the best for you and me. Your future and dreams come alive. So come on to University.
Summer State University.
achievements and awards now implies. It's the best for you, your future dreams come alive. So come on to Summer State University.
Summer University.
Humble beginnings, we began to shine.
Taking little footsteps, we began to climb.
We have reached across the line.
From our halls we walk rise.
Achievements and awards now we fly.
footsteps, we began to climb.
Near or far we have reached across summer.
From Katbalogan, Mercedes, Paranas and Pasay. From our halls we walk their aisles.
Achievements and awards now in prize. Join us and we'll show you the greatness of SSU. Summer State University, soaring high with excellence, seat of innovation, we'll build and serve the nation. Summer State University, it's the best for you and me. Your future and dreams come alive. So come on to Summer State University.
Summer State University.
So come on to Summer State University.
When I am down and all my soul so weary,
When troubles come and my heart burden be,
and I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas.
I am strong
When I am on your shoulders, you raise me But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I glimpse eternity. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, kailan sa sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagal
we cross the threshold towards a brighter day. Your beacon keeps on burning to guide us on our way. Oh, Summer State University, your name is in our hearts. So today we rejoice and sing with love and loyalty. And as we cross the threshold towards a brighter day, your beacon keeps on burning to guide us on our way. Oh, Summer State University, your name is in our hearts. So today we rejoice and sing with love and loyalty.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Today's extra special because I will be meeting you virtually as we gather to ignite your passion, increase your confidence, and celebrate your skills with today's event brought to you by Summer State University through the beautiful people of the Student Welfare and Development Services. I am so excited with today's event because who knows, this could be the vessel for you to land in the best job that fits you. Allow me to say this to you this early. You are going to be a success. You will not just find a good job, but the good job will find you. So let's make the most of our time, especially that today we are graced with speakers who are experts in their own fields. And to really make the most of your pre employment preparation talk experience, we would ask you to please interact with us by sending us your thoughts in our chat box. You may also want to greet each other po dito sa ating Zoom chat box. Or maybe mag-shout out po tayo ng mga colleges or agencies where we belong to. At ito, may umuuso na law of attraction daw. So today, I want you to comment now what and where you would want to be in the near future. For example, I will be an IT expert in Silicon Valley. Ganon. O, diba? Let's be loud, everyone here in Zoom and even in the social media, because actually we are live in Facebook and YouTube and we got a good number of audience. Good morning, netizens who are watching there in Facebook. We have actually 131 who are watching us live on Facebook at dadami pa yan later. O, di ba? Mag-ingay tayo online, job seekers. I would like to inform everyone that our event will begin shortly. Please kindly ensure that the protocols for this event are followed. First, please turn off your notifications. Second, please turn off your microphone. Third, your name in Zoom shall appear coded by your honorific name dash affiliation. For example, Miss Jessa dash SSU. 3, for FB Live participants, you may share, tag, or mention your friends to join this FB live stream. But please refrain from posting unnecessary comments in the comment section. Fifth, for Zoom participants, questions and clarifications will be entertained after the talk. By then, you may turn on your camera and microphone, or you may use the chat box. The moderators will cue if you are already recognized. Sixth, please stay until the end of this webinar. Seventh, Make sure to fill out the attendance and evaluation correctly and answer the post test to secure your certificate of participation. And this is the important note. On behalf of those who will not be able to join the live stream of the webinar, attendance and evaluation link will be available until the end of July. Once again, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to acknowledge the people who are with us today. Together with us are our lecturers, our dear laudable lecturers, Dr. Maria Isabel Liman. Good morning po, ma'am. Dr. Eden Torres Valencia. Good morning, sir. Miss Jan Chris Mary Referras. Good morning po, ma'am. Attorney Russell Pernitas. Good morning po, attorney. Also with us this morning is the director of the SWDS, Miss May Villanueva Canyal. Good morning, ma'am. Of course, we also have our dear graduating students of Summer State University, our job seekers from different institutions, our facilitators, at syempre, ang ating Facebook and YouTube viewers. People of Summer and of the Philippines, welcome to the pre-employment preparation talk. Good morning po. Ayan, the COVID-19 global pandemic has not only struck people's health, but also the economy, particularly the labor and employment sector. And today, we will take a look at how to get a job in the new normal. Job seekers, ready na po ba kayo? Are you ready na po? Can I see your thumbs up? Ayan, I hope you are all ready because as we heal as one during this pandemic, we must also learn and strive as one. And to formally welcome us today and to give the rationale of this event is the head of the Career and Placement Services and the PESO. Please welcome Miss Maria Cristina Avalos.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Philippines, and good morning, world. As we are streaming live, not just in our area, but also in the whole world. Okay, so applying for a job nowadays, like hunting an Easter egg, organizations impose certain levels of difficulty on their process to extract the cream among the applicants, primarily because of stiff competition in the labor market. Aside from this, the current situation adds to job hunting difficulty. And so the Student Welfare and Development Services, through its Career and Placement Services, will be having a webinar today on pre-employment preparation talk, which is formerly known as the Career and Placement Seminar Workshop. So we will be having a breakout session about the topics that we will be discussing today. So this is for our dear graduating students, and competent speakers were invited today to cover topics that will equip college graduates with the basics of employment application and how to maximize their chances of getting hired. So enjoy, relax, and learn a lot from today's talk. And wait for our open forum. So if you have questions, you can ask later. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Cristina Avalos. This is a clear message that it's a crucial thing to find the work that fits you. But as said by Ma'am Cristina, we will make it easier for you. Being a successful person is not necessarily defined by what you have achieved, but by what you have overcome. And the first person to talk to us today is someone who already has overcome doubts, fears, and failures. She is the director of the Center of Psychological and Research Extension Services in Ateneo de Davao University. This center has already helped the communities throughout Mindanao and other parts of the Philippines during times of disasters. Her work also includes providing psychosocial support to the AFP. She handles psychology subjects both in undergraduate and graduate levels. Apart from her regular practice, she also works with survivors of childhood sexual abuse. She also has her own center in Davao City where she provides psychological services to adolescents and young adults. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so honored to have our first speaker this morning to talk about the ways to prepare for the job market in the new normal and what the netiquettes are for virtual interviews. Please help me welcome Dr. Maria Isabel Liman.
Good morning. Hi. I love your energy, Miss Jessa. Uh, okay. So apart from being the head of Copers, I'm actually also the president of a rural bank here in Davao. And I've been involved in business. So I have two hats that I wear, one in the academe and one in the business world. Yes. I've been running that bank since I think 2006. So many years already. And apart from that, I also have a second MBA, a second degree in business, and thinking about pursuing a doctorate in business as well. But anyway, before I begin, let me just quickly set up my PowerPoint. Hang on. Hold on. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can now see your
All
screen.
right. Okay, let me just set it up so that the entire screen is okay. All right. So, uh, preparing yourself for the job market in the new normal is something that many of you, well, will be experiencing, of course, for the first time. I mean, it's not easy to think about getting a job, but what complicates it for the new graduates is that there is the COVID-19. There is a new normal that we have to think about. And so if we consider the circumstances that we are in at the moment, well, COVID-19 has really changed the way we live. But apart from that, it has also changed many things about what we do. So it has also changed the way that we work. So what happens next, or what happened next? According to the World Bank, the DOLE, Work Bank, the DOLE estimated that around 10 million Filipinos would lose their jobs. But I don't think that you should lose hope. And the reason for this is because there are new opportunities that emerged. So as graduates, what can you expect? Well, as more people stayed home, I'm sure you observed that many people started purchasing goods online. There has been a consequent rise in logistic jobs. Apart from that, because people were scared to leave their homes, and some still are, many transactions have been done online. And what does this mean for you? That although there have been job losses, there will also be opportunities. So you have to keep your eyes open for those. What jobs are in demand now? So let's quickly take a look at a survey that I found. Well, of course, there are a lot of call center jobs, IT-enabled services. Many organizations are now shifting their work online, their transactions online. So those in the IT field are actually going to be in demand if they aren't already. Government jobs still, well, the government still will continue to be hiring people. Education, for those of you in who majored in education, don't worry. There will always be a demand for teachers. The banking and the financial services will also continue. So I'm quite sure that a lot of the banks now will be hiring as well. We have many different banks and different financial companies that offer financial services. So that is another area for you to look at. And of course, computer and information technology. So Miss Jessa, I hear that you mentioned earlier that you said you wanted a job in the Silicon Valley. Well, I used to live there. That I graduated from the US for my MBA, my master's. And yes, we have a place there in the Silicon Valley. um, yeah. So now, given that we are able to identify, the industries that still continue to have a demand for workers, there are certain skills that you would also need to develop. And what is that? Well, you have to be adaptable. You have to be flexible. And of course, tech savvy. Many of us, even the older ones like me, had to learn a lot. No, I had to learn how to use Zoom. Had to learn how to make our lectures pretty. We needed to learn how to adjust our computers or videos or whatever that is, so that our online meetings and presentations would be good. We needed to be more creative. We needed to innovate. Of course, data literacy is important as well. Critical thinking skills, leadership, emotional intelligence, and a commitment to lifelong learning. So let me really quickly tell you my story. Do you guys know that I actually started off in the business field? So this was when I got my MBA in my 20s, early 20s, and was in industry for a really long time. But banking, for the big banks, of course, the work there is quite stressful. But for my little bank, it wasn't. It was fun. So I worked there. I set it up. I set all the systems up and everything. And then eventually, what happened was the system was running so well that I had nothing to do anymore. And so, way before the pandemic, I decided to go back to school. And guess what? I did that in my 40s. So I went back to school and decided to shift careers. So I from business I shifted to psych. So I actually, like I said, I wear two hats. So I still am engaged in business, but at the same time, I'm also in the academe. And the nice thing about this is eventually I found my passion. Now, this is something that I'd like to emphasize to you guys. Initially, you may not find your dream job, but that's okay. What you need to think about is that your first job is a job that you will gain experience from. So always focus on the learning. Okay, so maybe your first job may not be that ideal, but the point is it is an opportunity for you to learn. So as you graduate and as you apply for jobs and get jobs, it's okay to get a job that is that you may not be so excited about, but a job nonetheless, and a job that you will learn from, and that is what is important. So so um, apart from that, of course, as a psychologist, there I have to insert this now really quickly. So what are the skills that we need to survive? So of course we need to know, no, we need to have the skills to stay in business, manage risk to customers, workers, and the community. So examples of these are what we need to learn. No? Of course, most basic is to keep ourselves safe, and then how it works, how remote work works. So in other words, you may get a job that would not require you to be on site, but that may require you to work from home. And then, of course, you have to familiarize yourselves with the policies of the organization. You have to, of course, be uh, digitally literate. So you have to know like your computer and how to use all these technological tools that we have, no, to be able to be effective in our jobs. And time management skills will be very important. Stress management skills will also be important, and a work-life balance. So one of the things, no, that I've seen, uh, the pandemic, of course, has prevented us from doing a lot of things. But apart from the fact that you will be graduating with a degree, don't stop learning. There's so many webinars that you can learn from, so many webinars that can help enhance the skills that you already have. So take advantage of all of that. Make sure that you are able to to grow, to continue to grow, regardless of the situation. And so, what are the capabilities that we need to thrive? So these are dynamic capabilities, no, that align with the organizational purpose. So when you apply for a company, you make sure that your capabilities are aligned with what they're trying to do. So it might require you soft skills such as being able to solve problems, being creative, learning how to collaborate with people. Again, adaptability, resilience, leadership are always important. Well, diversity and inclusion as well, being able to manage people, and an experience, no, with handling customers. Now, there are again many ways through which you can do that, but always be open to learn. And it's okay. Be kind to yourself as you get your first job, because I'm sure that initially you may not have the confidence to be able to feel like you can do it. But you know what? It This is what I always tell people. Kung anong hindi kaya ng abilidad, kayanin sa PR. So learn how to get along with people. If you are unsure of yourself, ask. There's no harm in asking. And most likely, people in your organization that you're going to be working with would appreciate your curiosity and your eagerness to learn. All right. So now, what happens? So there you are, sending out your CV or your resume, and you finally got called in for an online interview. Sometimes they say be careful what you wish for, because then I'm sure that many of you will start feeling nervous about the online interview. And so I would like to share, a few things that for you to remember, some netiquettes, especially for virtual interviews. Now, first things first, you have to learn how to make good eye contact, because of obviously you, even if it's online, you are having a conversation with somebody. So make sure that you are looking at the camera, and you can practice that as much as you can, no, prior to the actual interview. And the second is take a look at the angle. So make sure that it's not just your forehead that they see, or not just half of your face up to here, or even up to here. So if possible, they need to be able to see your entire face. Okay, so another thing, what about the background? As you can see with me, it's a plain cream wall. And the reason for that is because I don't really work with backgrounds. I prefer plain backgrounds. Or if I use backgrounds, the lighting here in my place isn't that great. And so I start glowing. My face starts glowing. And I actually checked earlier, no, if it would work. But yeah, my face started glowing. So what kind of background? If let's say you decide, okay, I want to use a background, no, for the interview, make sure that the background is professional. You're not going to choose a background that has to do with the beach or vacation or slacking off or anything like that. If possible, choose a background that is that is professional looking. Choose a background that reflects who you are, but at the same time that isn't too busy, because your interviewers might get distracted with your background, or worse, they might get turned off. Okay, so choose a background that is simple. Okay, another thing. So what are you going to wear? So obviously, if you are going to have an online interview, take a look at this picture. This lady has a white shirt and the background is white. So if you notice, it's just her face that you see. So it's floating. Um, but if you see the other picture, she has a black jacket, not jacket, but blazer on. So if you notice, she looks better with the black blazer than with just the white top. So like in my case, for example, because I have a cream background, I am wearing a black dress. Okay. So another one is, employers look at your behavior. before, during, and after the interview. So what happens? So the earlier that you come, the better. So if you can be there at least 5 to 10 minutes before the interview, then that would be great. But maybe you can coordinate with the person conducting the interview so that they know that you're there. Coming late gives the impression that you do not value the person that you're talking to, your interviewer, or the company that you might be working for. So make a good first impression. Make sure you come early. And apart from coming early, you have to come prepared. So what does that mean? You research about the company and the job that you are applying for. And another thing also is that have online, there's so many sources. You can read about, for example, interview questions that HR personnel might ask you, and prepare your answers. But be careful. Make sure that you're not gonna read everything that you see online. Read meaning read out loud, copy and paste. Don't do that, because many of the employers just might be have access to the same website that you do. So if you come and then all of a sudden you start reading the responses that you see on the internet, and the HR person notices, then you'd be in trouble. So try and be as original as you can. Prepare your own answers. And then, well, at least have some kind of a script. But sometimes when you have a script, what happens is you don't look natural, even if you are online and the script is actually, let's say lang, being flashed in your screen. No, don't do that, because HR practitioners at this time, I'm pretty sure, are already expert at taking a look at whether you're reading or not, or whether you're being natural. So try and be as natural as you can, because that gives them a better impression of you. All right, so another thing, test your equipment and your internet connection. So you know what? Have a backup, and have a backup of your backup. So in other words, maybe you can go to in an internet cafe or something, or maybe you can have data that you can work with, just in case, no, just in case there's a problem with the internet. So make sure your computer is working, make sure your audio is working. Maybe a few minutes or 30 minutes before the interview, you can try and turn on your Zoom account and make sure that everything is working and that you can be heard. And of course, another thing, no, at least if you go into your Zoom account prior to the interview, you can also check what you look like. So make sure that you do that, because sometimes appearances also would make a difference in terms of giving a good impression to your employer or prospective employer. Now, there are certain things that you need to practice. Video interview skills, no? These are skills that you need to practice, like hand gestures, for example. Remember that hand gestures can't be seen, because as you can see, even in my case, the YouTube video is only up to here, and the video is only up to here. So what does that mean? I don't have to do hand gestures, because it can't be seen anyway. How about looking away from the camera? If possible, try and keep your eyes on the camera, and don't show that you are distracted, or that your attention is starting to go elsewhere, because usually interviews are held one-on-one. And remember that the person interviewing you is going to pay attention to what they call non-verbal behaviors. All right. And then try to minimize the distractions as much as you can. This morning, or I think it was last night, I remember that I saw something on Facebook, and it said the 5 enemies of online meetings. And of course, you know what it showed? Dogs, it showed roosters, and it showed many other things, electric fans, many other things that might cause a distraction when you are doing an online interview. So make sure you're conscious about that. You know, before I didn't realize how much noise an electric fan would have. Um, to a point that I remember when I was teaching an online class, my student really told me that she couldn't hear me so much because the electric fan was so loud. And so that made me more conscious about that. But yeah, take note of the sounds, the possible sounds that you might encounter during the interview. If possible, find a nice quiet place where you can do it. Also, practice how you sound. So in other words, practice, maybe like read things aloud, read maybe whatever it is. Just practice, because people will take note of how you sound. So depending on the kind of job you're looking for, make sure that you enunciate your words. Don't eat your words. If you're more comfortable speaking in a certain dialect, then maybe it would be good for you to speak in the dialect or the language that you are most comfortable in. And also make sure that you listen carefully. So don't hound the interview. Don't just keep talking and talking and not listen to the person who is interviewing you. So if possible, give them the lead and respond to them. Don't hound the conversation, and listen to what they are saying. If, let's say, you don't understand what they're saying, what are you going to do? Well, you can ask questions. Also, if from what I've gathered, this is what you said. Am I right? Okay. So, and then, after you clarify, then you can answer in the way that you feel that you should answer. So why do people conduct online interviews at this point? Obviously, not just to save time, but also um, to make sure that they are able to meet, no, with the applicants with the least risk possible, especially during the time of the pandemic. So during the online interview, the HR practitioners are also going to figure out, not to see to see if you possess anything that might be deal breakers during the initial hiring stages, like, for example, unprofessional behavior, or having certain characteristics that might not be a good fit with the organization that you're working with, or that you are about to work with. They want to take a look at how you communicate, at how you would take on, for example, the role of an employee. So maybe there could be some role play tests, and your speaking ability will play a major role there. So make sure that you are able to express yourself quite well. All right. So another thing also that they might do is take a look at your resume, the details in your resume or your CV. And then, because they want to get to know you better, so they might also want to provide instructions, no, or assess your skills as part of the interview process. All right. So how would you prepare for your interview? Make sure that you do research about the company that you're going to be working with. Think about the possible questions your employers might ask you. At the same time, be prepared to think on your feet. Don't hesitate. So if they ask a question, you can either say, well, I'm not quite sure about what you're asking, but from what I understand, this is what my response would be. Or don't say things like "come again," because those are very cliche. Or maybe you can ask, can I get a better idea of what you're asking, or something like that, because things like "come again" and "again," and there are common things that you might say that might turn off the HR personnel, no. Okay, so be prepared to think on your feet. So as much as you can prepare for the interview, there might be questions that can come out of left field. So what does that mean? They might ask you questions that you are not prepared for. So just in case, make sure that you are prepared, no, for an eventuality like that, and don't show your fear when that happens. Try and just smile through it and just express yourself anyway and answer the best as you can. And then what else? Of course, don't hesitate and find. But here's the thing: you have to find a balance between being honest and presenting yourself well. So, if, for example, after you graduate, there's a 3 month gap, and the employee asks you, "What did you do during the gap?" You're not gonna say, "Well, I slept from morning till night and only would wake up to eat." So I don't think that would give your employers a good impression of you. All right. So there are possible questions that they might ask, like, tell me about yourself. So a question like this is very, very broad. Now, how would you answer that? Perhaps what you might want to do is think about your past, the present, and the future. So, what have you done in the past? Are you doing in the present? And what are your plans for the future? So, make sure that you are able to structure your answers in that way. You might be asked, what are your interests and passion? So basically, what they want to do is get to know you as a person. So they want to get to know your personality. So try and be as honest and as candid as you can. And then another question might be, what are your expectations about this job? This is what they actually want to see. They want to see how enthusiastic you are and how focused you are on personal growth. So you're not going to say, well, doing the same job for the next 5 years. You can say, well, uh, uh, I'm thinking about growing professionally. I'm thinking with your company. I'm thinking about all the things that I can learn, because as a fresh graduate, obviously, although I have had experience through my practicum, I think that working would be a different story, and perhaps working with your organization will help me grow as a professional. And I'm here to learn as much as I can, for as long as I can, right? Okay, so another question that an employer might ask is, why should we hire you? So think about what your past work experience was and what your achievements were. So when you answer, you can say, well, from the time, let's say, even as a teacher, no, I went through an interview. Actually, the interview became more of a conversation that I had. It was no longer like very formal, but I tried to answer as best as I could. So how do you do that? Well, just be honest. Be honest, but of course, I mean, within limitations. No, you're not, like I said, you're not gonna say things like, um, uh, hobby things that I enjoy doing would be sleeping or not doing anything, or binge watching and things like that. Um, all right. So again, no, so with the question, why should we hire you? Think about the relevance of your past work experiences and your achievements. All right. So what about this question? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Quite difficult to answer. Of course, it depends on the kind of organization that you apply to, whether it's big or small. But you can say, well, I'm planning to learn as much as I can because of my focus on my personal growth, professional growth, and personal growth. Or you have to reflect, no, an enthusiasm for the role that you are going to take, and of course a commitment and a desire to grow with the company. And so these are possible questions that they might ask you. And mind you, there are many, many, many resources that you can take a look at on the internet. But again, no, be very careful about memorizing the answers that are there. Because again, HR people might already, well, have read it, or they might be familiar with it. So be careful about that. So try and be as unique and as prepared as you can, but also make sure that you prepare unique answers. All right. So I think that that ends my talk. I hope that in the few minutes that I shared all this information with you, that you learned some of the things that you need to remember during an interview, and also how to prepare yourself for the job. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Maria Isabel Liman. Ma'am, thank you so much for giving us your expertise and sharing what you know to all of our students here in Summer State University. We're so honored to have you today, Ma'am Isabel.
Thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you po, ma'am. Now we are going to open our platform for questions from our students. So anybody who would like to ask anything regarding the topics that were shared to us by our speaker, you could just key that in to our Zoom chat box or in our Facebook comment section. So we will be reading them right now. So again, we encourage everyone that if you have any questions regarding the topic that was shared to us by our laudable speaker, you could just key that in on our Zoom chat box or in our comments section in Facebook. So anybody who would like to ask questions? I will not forget what Ma'am Liman said kanina. Kung hindi kaya ng abilidad, idaan na lang natin sa PR. Totoong
Yeah,
totoo po talaga yun, ma'am.
in the business world, I'm telling you, that makes a difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is really true, ma'am. And I could attest to that. Totoo po yan. And what you said kanina po na it's okay to land on a job that you're really not fond of, but you will learn from it. So
Mhm.
let's be kind to ourselves sa
Yeah,
first job natin.
exactly. And make the most out of it. Enjoy. Enjoy that experience. It may not be the best, but it's something that can get your feet wet, and it can get you familiar, no, with how it is working in the real world. Because
Yes
it's
po ma'am,
different.
ang dami kong nalaman regarding sa sa tinawag mo kanina, and grabe, I'm sure that it's a big help to all of our students here in the university. At ang dami po naming nalaman, kahit kami mismo na may mga trabaho na, we are still learning from you.
Yes,
Thank you po ma'am.
you're welcome.
Ayan. So again, we are encouraging all our students that if you have questions, kindly key them in our chat box here in Zoom or in our Facebook comment section. Parang wala yatang questions kasi ang linaw-linaw nung talk ni Ma'am Limen.
Another thing pala that I wanted
Yes,
to
ma'am.
say, no, be as apart from being kind to yourself, be confident. You know what? You have, just remember that each one of us has something special, and it's more about letting that emanate or letting that show during the interviews. So yeah, show confidence, show how excited you are. Sometimes it's not even
Yeah.
right, it's not even the actual skills that employees are looking, not skills, but sometimes employers are looking for people who are just interested in the jobs, who are excited about life in general. So
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am, that's really true. Opo. Totoo po talaga. Kasi
diba?
yeah, based on my experience din po ma'am, no, um, yung how you talk to them, it really makes a lot of impact.
Yes, definitely. I agree with that. Sometimes, let's say me, if I were to do an interview, I would I would actually prefer somebody who is positive about things, who is excited, who has the enthusiasm, but don't come on too strong. Also, you have to be careful.
That's right, ma'am. Okay, mas marami po tayong nalalaman because of this open forum. So, anybody na lang po dito sa ating room who has questions? Sa Facebook parang wala po.
Okay.
Okay, parang wala pa po talagang mga nagko-question sa atin. Pero meron, ito. We have one question here. So I'm going to read it po to
All
Ma'am
right.
Isabel. Ma'am, I would like to ask, sometimes there are intimidating interviewers. How should we handle them?
Again, always remember, go back to my first rule. Anong hindi kaya ng abilidad, kayanin sa PR. Seriously, make sure you are able to win them over. Don't think of them as intimidating. Think of them as people, just as regular people who are just doing their jobs. Don't allow yourself even to show that you're intimidated. Try and connect with them in some way. Find a topic perhaps that you can talk about prior to the interview. That's why it helps to come to interviews early, because prior to the interview, you can also learn a little bit more about the person who is interviewing you. Perhaps you'll discover you went to the same school. Perhaps you'll discover that you know common people or things like that. Find a common ground so that you are able to establish rapport with your interviewer. Honestly, I don't get intimidated by anybody, seriously. And the reason for that is because I know what I bring to the table. And even if these are people, let's say, who have accomplished so much, then I look at them and think, well, uh, or I ask them, you've done so much. I'm so impressed by what you're doing, but it doesn't make me feel any less. So what I do is I just acknowledge that they are good at what they do, and that's it. I know what I have to offer, and well, maybe at some point, right, a few years down the road, I'll learn what you know at this time. But yeah, I rarely get intimidated by people, and you shouldn't be, because again, no, like I said, each one of us has something special in us, and it's just a matter of letting that emanate during the interview. So
That's
correct approach. Well, salary matters. uh, you know what? I actually have a difficult time answering that. Salary matters. You have to be very careful about how you talk about it, because sometimes when you, let's say, price yourself too high, you're actually pricing yourself outside of the market. So, maybe, or you might be pricing yourself too much. So perhaps my answer to that would be, prior to the interview, you find out what the salary scale is and you figure out what is reasonable for you. But again, no, potential employers will take a look at that. And if you ask for too much, I'm telling you, it might turn them off. But if you come with experience, then maybe you can start negotiating about salary. But my suggestion is, prior to the interview, you ask employees of that organization what the starting rate is. And it's all in the packaging. If you're able to package yourself well, you might just get the salary that you want. So that's how I would do it, because that's kind of a sticky issue, and yeah, correct approach. um I don't know, perhaps yeah, you know what, seriously, what I would do is research first and then ask. At least I already have an idea in my mind of what the range would be like. So if you know that for sure you're going to get accepted in the job, that's when you talk about salary matters. But don't bring it up too early during the interview.
Okay, so first, how are we going to relate to the intimidating interviewers? Well,
Mm,
we go back to our first rule, idaan sa PR, and this is our second question, how to approach about the salary matters during an
yeah,
interview. Research, ask, and then negotiate. Thank you,
yeah.
Ma'am Liman. Now we go to our next questions here po. Hello po, good morning, sabi ni Yana Dinil. Can
Mhm.
we ask Ma'am Liman to give some tips regarding out of the box questions during interview?
Out of the box questions. Well, um, uh, Mr. Palancia is laughing. Oh, I think he's the next speaker. Eh. Are you going to cover that, sir?
Possible questions or out of the box question,
Yes, sir.
maybe in my topic and touch some of those.
Okay.
For the interview, before you will be invited for interview, be sure that you have a very good, effective application letter and a resume, because you will not be invited for an interview if you don't have an effective application letter, and your resume. So, out of the box question, maybe I can tackle that one later as I discussed.
Sir.
The interviewer or the would-be employer will not ask you question that would be maybe along personal, but then be careful of the personal questions because they might be questioned also. Questions like your race, if you are married or not. These questions are very personal and sensitive questions. Baka maano sila dyan, ma-data privacy breach. Hindi pwede yun. So the HR people already know about their roles and how are they going to interview. Maybe outside the box question, maybe on how are you going to contribute? What will be your best contribution if you will be hired in the organization? Parang ganun. And then
Or
you need to be ready. You need to be ready really with these questions. Because before you, bago ka sumabak, kailangan talaga you have a
yes, sir.
thorough research with the company. Know their vision, mission statements.
Yeah.
Para naman, if I am the employer and then here is a would-be, here is an applicant or a would-be employee in my organization. And then if the person, ikaw na nag-a-apply, you know the vision statement and the mission statement and the goal statement of the organization. Parang you have a big point. Yeah, parang it's a green X on you, not a red X.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Or your potential employer might ask you if you won 1 million pesos tomorrow, what would you do with that money? Things like that. Actually, they want to see your creativity, right, sir?
Yes,
Yeah, they want to see how
yes, ma'am.
creative
If
you are.
talking on the maybe your letter, your resume would sometimes project your personality that you would like to project. So be careful of the things you say or you state, especially during the interview, because the interview will be the validation, the
Yes.
validation. But be thankful if you will be invited for the interview because you are now on the second level. Pag na-invite ka na for the interview, sabihin mo sa sarili mo, my God, I heard the first level, the paper qualifications. Kasi
Yes.
in-invite ka for an interview. So
Yes.
maybe the way you answer, your answers and the way you answer, tinitingnan nila yan. Alam mo naman, si Ma'am Lemon, psychologist yan. Bawat action, bawat sinasabi, every word, the, the body language, okay, they know about this, all this. Okay? Nagpro-project ka something. So when you talk about money, for example, parang nag-ano din sila, nag-DTI nagpa-background investigation.
Mm.
So they might ask questions related to you personally and then doing it in a very subtle way, not really very direct. Okay? Hindi lang talaga diretso. Pero alam mo yun, so that's why you have to be ready. So before pumunta sa battle, you should really be ready. Yun na lang.
Definitely. But bottom line here is that you need to think about the kind of image you want to project to your future employer. So if
Yeah,
for example,
rejection. Part po yan ng discussion ko later.
right, sir? So for example, you want to see them as a simple person. Well, don't go there, don't go to the interview bedecked with jewelry galore. Or if you see that the people in the organization are quite simple, you have to be able to blend in. No, don't be overdressed din naman. So these are things that you need to consider. So out of the box questions are actually a way of seeing how you would solve problems, so to speak. Right, like
Dr. Lemon,
yes, sir.
outside the box question are just around the corner. They will.
I know, right?
They, it's in the unfolding of the interview.
Exactly. So yeah,
The
just
moment
make
to
sure.
enter, the moment to enter in the room, oh my God, they would know if you are confident. They would know how you dress up, how you bear yourself, kung nakaganyan ka, kung nangangati ka, kung na ano, malalaman nila yan. And then they would really know kung kung nakatingin ka palagi sa ano, baka it's your first
Or
time to be in a room na confident.
exactly. Or bagong gising at 10 o'clock in the morning, sir.
I
How?
agree. I agree with Dr. Lemon when she said that you need to be there early. Yeah,
Mhm.
advisable. Why? Because you see you have the chance of knowing your competitors. Who are they? Eh baka naman sabihin, oh, saang school graduate ka? Sabihin Lasal or Ateneo. I like what Dr. Lemon said, be confident. Kasi this,
Yes,
sabi mo, some
definitely.
university. Okay? So,
Yeah,
definitely.
of
Baka naman,
course.
baka naman masabi mo, from Ateneo or from Masalo, mag-ano ka na, makikita nila yon. So, projection ay pinapakita.
And you
Sabi
know
nga
what?
ni Campbell, oo, you give your 5% zone there. So your 5%, leave your 95% personality, give your 5%, and the best thing in of yourself, give it there in the interview. Kasi second level ka na eh. After the interview, sasabihin na, okay, you can now take a personality tests. O, mag-exam sa third level na yan. Palakpak na yan kasi ma-accept ka na. So,
Yeah.
you're nearing the door of opening of another opportunity. So,
Yes.
that,
So yeah, you know what? Yes, definitely. Don't sell yourself short. Always look at what you think your strengths are and highlight those, emphasize those. It doesn't matter what school you come from. Those things, so don't allow other people to intimidate you, because just as they have something to offer, you have something to offer as well. So make sure that you're able to project that. I'm telling you, it makes a difference.
yes. Mm-mm. Kasi if you will be
Wow.
intimidated during the interview, my God, you tend to stammer.
Right? Yes. Yes,
Sasabihin nila,
for
ay,
sure.
nako. And then, yung ating pang-language sa waray-waray, because we are affected with our mother tongue. So if you will be interviewed in Makati, for example, in Manila, and then you are in a, ano pa yun, in a boardroom, and it's your first time to be in a boardroom, and then they're all wearing their suit, may intimidate ka talaga. So that's why, sabi ni Dr. Lemon, you really have to be ready. And then I like what Dr. Lemon said, practice. A
Yes.
mirror. Practice, really practice. Know your if the possible questions Dr. Lemon has given a while back, you can actually practice them. Tell me about yourself. Oh, just go practice that in front of the mirror. How you conduct yourself, but you do not overdo it. Baka naman iba na kung
Yun na
marami.
nga, sir. If it's too scripted, ano rin, nakaka-turn off din.
Yes.
So, wag naman yung parang nagde-declaration kayo, no? Yung parang yung sa contest, alam mo yung ganun. Just try and be as natural as you can. So, when you practice, practice with phrases only. Like, for example, phrases as your guides, not entire sentences. Because if you end up memorizing that and your answer just goes to that, I'm telling you, your future employers or prospective employers would see through that. So so don't try to be somebody you're not. Just be yourself. Not
Yeah.
be yourself.
Yes. I agree also with Dr. Lemon when she said that you do need to practice word for word or scripted. Kasi if you miss a word, oh my, it's the end of you because you will stop, and then stopping would mean nag-memorize ang batang ito.
Oo nga.
Ano, parang
Thank you
that's
so
not
much
true.
po to the both of you. I'm really sorry to interrupt. Parang
Sorry.
nanonood po
Yeah,
kami ng talk show. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
you're welcome.
Anyway, there's another question here, so you could talk about this too. There's a question here from um, Ada. How to stand out in an interview? How do I stand out in an interview?
How do you stand out in an interview? Make sure that you leave a good impression. And how do you do that? Specifically through the way that you talk, the way you express yourself, the way that you answer questions. Uh, like Sir Reden said, no, in the first place, just being called into the interview is already a good first step. It's already saying that your employer, your prospective employer, has already seen your qualifications and is considering you for a position. So, how do you set yourself apart? Make sure that you're able to express yourself well during the interview. And again, let's go back to my rule number 1. Don't forget, anong hindi kaya ng abilidad, kayanin sa PR.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Liman. Yes, that is true. Be yourself, no? When you,
Yeah.
it's your branding, it's your own.
Yes. Yes, because people, HR practitioners will be able to spot, no, you. Well, if you're trying to be fake or if you're trying to exude an impre or give an impression that is not you or it's not naturally you. So people, they would see through that. So make sure that you come off as natural as you can, and just be very confident in knowing what your strengths are and play up those strengths. So whatever it is, whether it's speaking or whatever it is, just make sure you are aware of what your strengths are, because then you know what you're bringing to the table.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Liman. Last question po. I guess this question would fall to Ma'am Liman and Dr. Valencia. Are there power words or magic words we can use during the interview?
Power words. I don't even think about power words. I just seriously, uh, I'm not sure about Dr. Palencia, but I'm not sure. Uh, I don't know. I don't pay attention to specific words during interview because I take a look at the what the person is saying as a whole. So, right, sir? Power words. How about you,
Power
sir?
words. Before you give a power word, be sure that you understand the question. That's the most important thing, because you cannot give a power word without you understanding the question. Maybe the power word that the child is or the student is asking is parang gambits. Mm. The
Mm.
gambits, the introductory sentences or the introductory phrases wherein kumbaga sa role parang head turner ka if you are going to use the gambits. Mga gambits like if you will be asked for personal viewpoints, you could say, in my viewpoints, not everybody will agree with me, but to my assessment, parang these gambits are power words that would give a hint or a cue to the interviewer na this child knows what he or she is saying. Why? Because he or she introduces it with a gambit that to his viewpoint, not everybody will agree with me, but to my mind, in my readings, these are power words. Power words to introduce something. Parang a clincher. Parang a kick-off word na, magaling ang bata nito because he or she is using a gambit. It would mean to say organized siya. Ang thoughts na sinasabi niya are organized.
Oh, what's important is do not use words you don't understand
Yeah,
because
correct.
we will know. We'll know. And you know what? You don't have to pretend. Don't pretend. Just be your normal self. And one of the things that I've actually discovered is this: the more well-read you are, the more eloquent you become. So even prior to getting a job, read as much as you can. Seriously, it would help with your vocabulary. It would help you even with your writing, no? As you go along, as you start your first jobs or start your career, you start reading as well. It doesn't have to be academic books, but any book actually. For me, that was one of the things that has helped me hone my speaking skills and as well as my writing skills. So always be open to learning new things, no? Uh, Webinars, attend as many as you can. A lot are free anyway. Right, sir? So yeah.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Lemon, and to Dr. Palencia. Well, just a last note po from Ma'am Lemon. Ma'am, do you have anything to add up to your talk, ma'am? Just to end the
Okay.
lecture.
Okay, to end the lecture, I just want you to remember that all of us have something to offer, whatever that is. As long as you know what you have to offer and you are able to communicate that with your future employer, you will be fine. So I wish everybody the best of luck. Your school has already prepared you for this. And so now it's time for you to conquer the world. So good luck. Best of luck to all.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Maria Isabel Leman. Well, Leman, I don't know how to say thank you to Universe, but let me just express our gratitude by giving you this certificate of appreciation as a sign of our gratitude.
for the introduction. Host this evening participants. Bel, ikaw yung host. Abel,
Yes. Yes.
co-host ako. Host. At yung host.
There you go, Dr. May. Dr. May, you're already the host.
Hindi pa.
Dr.
Mouse.
Yes, Dr. May. Yes, Dr. May, I'm here.
Hindi pa ako naka-co-host.
Wait, hang on. Here you go, Dr. May. Dr. May, yeah, you're the host already.
Naano mo na?
Yes, yes, yes.
Naka-host ka na po, Doc.
Hindi ako disabled.
Dr. May, check again, please.
Huh?
Check again, please, Dr. May.
I'm really sorry po to everyone because we are currently experiencing technical glitches here. But thank you so much for your patience. We're trying to share the screen right now, but we'll get back to that part. So at this time, again, we would like to thank our first lecturer for this morning, Dr. Maria Isabel Liman, who talked about how to prepare yourself in the job market in the new normal and the etiquettes for virtual interview. Once again, thank you po, Dr. Maria Isabel Liman.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to share what I know with your community because Dr. May is one of my good friends, and so I will never say no to her. Never.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Isabel.
Thank
Indeed, ang dami po naming nalaman ngayong araw. And I'm sure our dear graduating students will never ever forget you and what you've taught them today.
thank you so much.
Um, right now, we are going to um, award this certificate as a sign of our gratitude. Our this morning.
Okay, thank you again, Dr. Lemon. So this
Thank you,
certificate
Dr. May.
sorry for the internet interruption. Okay, Summer State University would like to give the certificate of recognition to Dr. Maria Isabel Lemon. So this is in grateful recognition for imparting her valuable insights and expertise as a resource speaker during the webinar on pre-employment preparation talk, how to prepare yourself for the job market in the new normal, and the etiquette for virtual interviews. So held on April 7, 2021 at Summer State University. So given this 7th day of April 2021 at Summer State University, Catalogan City, Samar, signed by our University President, Dr. Marilyn D. Cardoso. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. May. It's always a pleasure to share what I know with your community. Thank you.
Yun pa lang po no, yung ating mga topics for today. Pero mas marami pa tayong malalaman this morning regarding pre-employment. And this time, ladies and gentlemen, we go to our second speaker for this morning. Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is someone who has excellent work ethics. He was even awarded the Outstanding Support Service Provider in the university. He is that one person I know who would really get any job he would apply in because he knows the secret of success in life is for a man to be ready for his opportunity when it comes. A man of virtue and strong will. Ladies and gentlemen, Our second speaker is the Executive Assistant 3 and the Director of the University Publications here in Summer State University. Please welcome Dr. Redentor S. Valencia.
Thank you so much, Jessa. Thank you so much for a very very nice introduction, Jessa. Under ka talaga publication office. So thank you so much. So I would like also to extend my gratitude to Dr. Isabel Lemon from all the way from Ateneo de Davao University. Thank you so much for gracing your extending your expertise to the to our students, to our graduating students. May I share my screen? Okay. So here. Okay, my topic is purely lecture. I will not bore you for an hour because I have about 55 slides. So my topic is on how are we going to write our application letter and how are we going to write our resume. Okay, so before we wish, okay, to be invited for an interview, be sure that we have written, we have submitted, we have passed an effective application letter with your resume. Okay, so that would be my topic for this morning. So first, I would like to pag-good vibes naman tayo dyan. So my greetings to the University President, Dr. Marilyn D. Cardoso. Hi, ma'am. Good morning. To the Vice President for Student Affairs and Services, Engineer Maria Lourdes P. Amante. Good morning po, Madam. And to the Director of the SWDS, Dr. May Canyao. Thank you for this invitation since 2012. Up to now, 2021, always invited to speak for graduating students. Okay, so my topic this morning is on the following. I have only two. Okay, so one is how are we going to write an effective application letter, and the second topic would be how are we going to write an effective resume. Okay, again, before we will be invited for an interview, be sure that we are right. We have written a very good and effective application letter or an effective resume, or else we will not be called for an interview. Yon. So this is our ticket. Okay, your ticket for you to be invited for an interview. Okay, kaway-kaway naman tayo dyan. Okay. Palab naman tayo dyan. Okay, so that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Jessa, the moderator. Sa love. Okay, so writing an effective application letter. So may I start with these questions at hand? So I'm going to ask you these questions muna. Okay, before you write your application letter, try to ask these three questions. Parang interview lang. And these questions might also be asked during the interview. Okay, the first question is, why do you want, okay, kulang na yan. Why do you want to work for me instead of someone else? Bakit ikaw? Bakit hindi iba? Okay. Another one, how will you contribute to my organization's success? Tinanong din yan kanina ni Dr. Lemon. Okay, what will be your contribution to the organization? That's one of the best questions that you need to be ready of. And another one here is, will you work well with me and other employees and the person with whom I do business? Okay, yun ang effective, the projection. Baka naman this applicant is overconfident. Okay, baka naman this applicant is too ineffective with the job. Okay, so try to ask yourself these three questions before you go for an interview or before you write your application letter. Okay, if you are able to answer these three questions, then you are now ready to write your application letter. You get your laptop, okay, laptop or your personal PC there in a blank sheet, then try to make your story for you to be hired in an organization or an institution. Okay, so we start with how are we going to write your application letter? Okay, so please try to ask these questions before. Now in my presentation, Dear ladies and gentlemen, I will be presenting to you guidelines, simple guidelines that we need to follow, simple guidelines that we need to be aware of when we are writing our application letter. Okay, so we start with our first guideline in writing our application letter. Yon ang sinasabi ko kanina. Guideline number 1, learn about each employer. Oo, know who will be your future employer. Okay, know the organization. So how are we going to do that? Okay, what are the things that we need to do to know the organization? Number 1, draw on your own knowledge. Okay, you can visit the web, the website. You can even visit the place. Okay, try to look at their bulletins, on their posting. What are their needs? Okay, what are their strength as an organization? Take note of their vision statement, of the mission statement. They are very important, and their goals. Okay, you might be questioned or you might be asked during the interview, why did you apply in this organization? Okay, so that question would be answered with your knowledge on the organization. If you don't have any knowledge with the organization, it would be very hard for you to answer questions during the interview. So sabi ko sa inyo kanina with Dr. Lemon, bago sumalang, okay, be sure that you have enough knowledge on the organization. Then another thing is you ask an employee, a professor, or other knowledgeable person, okay, na may alam tungkol sa organization, about the organization. Okay, so these are the questions that we need, things I mean that we need to do for us to know about our employer or would-be employer. Another one here is contact the company. The contact the company does not mean to say that you're going to call. Okay, maybe because of the limited mobility or the restricted mobility. Okay, so you can also do web searching online. Okay, you can also do that. Try to visit their websites. Okay, try to visit your website, or you may even what ask the customers. Okay, their customers. You ask them, okay, about the organization, or person who is working there. Okay, a friend of yours, a relative of yours who is working there. He or she can be the best person who can tell you about the organization. So, before you write, know the organization. Hindi basta pasa ng pasa na you do not know the organization. Okay? So, that's it. So, learn about the organization. That's our guideline number 1. Let's now proceed to guideline number 2. Use or adapt conventional organization or workplace letter. What do we mean here? Lalo na ngayon, especially now that all submissions may be submitted online. So what do we do here is try to check in the website if they have some templates wherein you can just input, okay, your application letter there and submit. Okay, especially now that we have a very, very limited mobility, okay, especially now that we have all submissions are done online, you can check their websites. Wherein in their website, okay, you can check there an area or a part or an area of the website wherein you can just submit your what do you call that, your application or your resume online. But before you submit, before you click the submit button, be sure that you already have checked everything. Okay, yeah? So that's it. Are you still with me? If you are still with me, pa-love naman dyan, pa-like naman dyan, and pa-clap naman dyan. Okay? So, how are we going to adopt the conventional organization for a workplace letter? Number 1 is, yon. Number 1 is try to know the conventions of letter writing. So, ano ba ang part ng application letter? Okay? Generally, the parts of the application letters are simple. We have the introduction, We have the body, the qualification stage, or the class qualification section, and then the other one is the conclusion. Tatlo lang. So introduction, and then the body. The body includes your qualification section, and then the last one would be your conclusion. Okay, tatlo lang ang part. Okay, so what are the things that we need to input, or what are the things that we need to input in our introduction? Okay, so in our introduction, by identifying the job you want, okay, in your introduction, okay, you accommodate the employer's desire to know why you have written, okay, by naming the position, okay, and convey your enthusiasm. Take note, where did you learn that there is a vacancy? It can be included in your introduction. Later on, I will give you an example. Okay, so later, where did you learn that the company or the organization is in need of such job? Okay, or where did you learn that a certain organization is or has a vacancy for a particular position? You have to state that there, but it's not an ordinary statement, but you have to convey also your enthusiasm of your interests of the position. Later on, there will be samples that how are we going to show it that we are so enthusiastic in applying for the job? Say, for example, when you say in this sentence, when you say, I was delighted to see your ad for a chemical engineer in Sunday's newspaper. So that sentence alone, okay, that sentence alone would already express your enthusiasm by the word delighted. You are delighted to know. So delighted would mean you are so glad. So you're showing your enthusiasm for the position. And where did you learn that there is a vacancy? You learn it from an ad in a Sunday's newspaper. Okay, so that will be the composition of your introduction. Moving on, okay, moving on. Another composition of your introduction is that to make your enthusiasm credible, explain the reason for it. Okay, for it to be credible, you do not just say that I am interested, but rather you are going to include some points and Greek X like why are you applying for the job, or your very reason why you are applying for a job. Like you say, for example, in this statement, as an environmental engineering major who will graduate in May, I am eager, okay, I am eager to help companies assess and remediate hazards. If I am the would-be employer, okay, in an organization, I would know, okay, what is it that this guy or what is it that this person would like to do in my organization? Okay, that statement alone would give the employer or your would-be employer your the things that you want to do or the things that you want to achieve in that particular organization. So part of your introduction is stating the reason why you would like to be in that job or why you are interested for that particular position. Okay. Another one is in your introduction also, another effective way to begin your letter is to praise. That's why you need to do research. Okay, to letter is to praise an accomplishment. Not your accomplishment, but the organization's accomplishment. Okay, yeah? To praise an accomplishment, to praise or to commend a project or an activity done by the organization that you learned about during your research. Okay, that's why according to Dr. Lemon, you have to read, you have to do research. Kaya hindi kasi dapat gema-gema, hindi kasi dapat bola-bola. So that all the things that you are going to state in your resume and in your application letter are factual. You need to have documents to show. Okay? Tell me, show me. Hindi sabihin mo na, ganito ako, ganito, pero wala kang ipapakitang papel. Take note of that. Tell me, show me later. That's why you will be invited for an interview to validate. And that's the time you can show your certificate or whatsoever. Okay, so take a look on that statements there at the bottom. Those with uh, green what do you call colors. Okay, when reading the August issue of Automotive Week, I learned that you needed to shut down your assembly line for only 45 minutes when switching from making last year's car model to this year's model. So you're trying to make a story. Okay, these 500% reduction in shutdown time over last year is remarkable. Okay, as a senior in manufacturing engineering in Western University, now you're now stating your enthusiasm with praise and praising the accomplishment of the organization. I would welcome a chance to contribute to further improvements in the production processes at your plant. Yon. Okay, you did not just say nga you are interested, but rather say it in a very subtle way nga dili ka, you will not turn out to be humble or you will not to be boastful, but you are welcoming for an opportunity, okay, that you are willing to help the organization along the area, okay, a specific area. Okay, to continue, please consider me for opening in the production design group that you advertise through the university's career services center. So see, you're making or telling a story. Where did you learn? Okay, what was the accomplishment of the organization? That's why you need to do research. Okay, next on, still part of the introduction. If you have a connection, you can also mention that. If you have a connection with a current employee or representatives of the employer, you might mention it like you met him or her in a job fair. Okay, pwede yun. Especially if you can combine this reference with evidence, okay, that you are knowledgeable about the organization. So always you need to have the knowledge of the organization. Okay, as I read, there is an example. There is an example there. Okay, it reads, at last month's career fair at the University of Missouri, I spoke with Agra Gross representatives Rafael Ortega. You mentioned the name, who described your company's novel approaches to no-till agriculture. Okay, as an agronomy major, I would welcome the chance to work in your research department. Okay, so you are telling a certain story. Where did you meet, and then what was said about the company, and then what is it or that you can contribute to the company. So that would form part in your introduction. Unlike before, application letter would just simply state where did he or she learn that there was a vacancy. Simple as that. Okay na yun. But now you can add up by commending, giving praises, okay, knowing more, stating on your knowledge about the organization would be a what? Would be an advantage on you as an applicant. Okay, so that would be your introduction. Siguro, your introduction would be composed about 2 to 3 short sentences or 2 to 3 sentences that would give as a clincher to your next part of your letter. And the next part of your application letter is the body. Yon, this one is the very important part of your application letter. The qualifications section. How qualified are you? Now, in the qualification section, it is only composed of 2 parts. Okay, yeah? So, this part would be you will discuss your academic or your educational qualifications. And the other thing that you need to include in the qualification section would be your work experience and personal qualities. Take note, your work experience should be aligned with the job you are applying. Okay, do not say there that you might have a work experience as a Zumba dancer, and then you are applying for a programmer, computer programmer in a certain institution, and then you will relate there you're being a Zumba dancer or a Zumba instructor. You are applying as a programmer. Do not do that. Again, take note, the things that you are going to include in your qualification section should always be aligned with the job that you are applying for. Okay, so take note of your education. Okay, that's the first part. And then your experience. Again, your experience should be aligned. And then your personal qualities. Your personal qualities should be carefully expressed there, because as Dr. Levin said, it will give you some projections as who you are as a person. Okay, so take note of those. Okay, moving on. Okay, I hope you are still with me. Okay, paklap naman dyan. Paklap naman dyan, Ma'am Smile. Paklap naman dyan, Sir Bindoy. Paklap naman dyan. And then another thing that you need to include for your body or your qualification section is, instead of simply listing courses you have taken, show how the knowledge you gain will help you do a good job for the employer. Okay, say for example, you state it this way. In my advanced physical chemistry course, I learned to conduct fluoroscopic and gas chromatographic analysis similar to those your laboratory uses to detect contaminants in the material provided by your vendors. Okay, so he or she did not only mention the course, but mentioning also the learning that would be in contribution to the company. Okay, yeah? So that's it. Also, you may state in your qualification section, later on, don't you worry, I will give you a sample. Okay, later on in your body and qualification section, rather than reciting previous job, okay, or work experience, okay, you indicate how the skills gained will, how the skills that you gain from your previous job, okay, will enable you to succeed in the job that you are applying now, okay, or that you are taking. Okay, take a look for that example. You may also say the statement by saying, in one course, we designed a computer simulation of the transportation between 3 manufacturing facilities, 2 warehouses, and 17 retail outlets. Through this class, I gained substantial experience in designing the kinds of system used by your company. Okay, so you are reciting, you are telling your would-be employer that you have learned something from your previous job, and that is the skills, okay, the skills that you have learned from your previous job would be very helpful to the present job that you are applying with. Okay, so take note of that. Okay, so you did not just mention your job, previous job. Rather, what learning did you get? Bago na ko ngayon, ano? So what learning did you get, and how these learnings and how these skills and learnings of yours would help, okay, in the job that you are applying. Okay, so that will form part of your body or your qualification section. Another one here is, so moving on, we're now moving on to our conclusion, the last part. So take note, part ng application letter natin is your introduction, then body, and then your body shall include or shall discuss your qualifications, educational qualifications, or your body shall discuss your work experience that is related again, and then your personal qualities. Now we move on to the last part, your conclusion. Okay, the concluding part of your letter. In the conclusion of your letter, look ahead to the next step. What do we mean here? Now, looking ahead to the next step. Now, you do not just state there your qualifications or your learning from your previous job, but your conclusion would tell or would give a hint to the employer that you are interested to be interviewed. Okay, so to be interviewed, or you're interested for let us say an individual conference, or to the employer for you to discuss further your qualifications. Okay, so if you are planning to follow up with a phone call in your letter, try to indicate that you are going to make a follow up. Okay, try to indicate that. In some situations, such a call can be helpful in focusing an employer's attention on your resume. Okay. Kita daw, tingnan mo nga yung paper ninyo because you had a phone call. So it's okay that you are going to state there that you are going to make a follow-up. Okay, you can state it there. Or if you would give them the opportunity to call you, okay, if you are planning to wait to be contacted by the employer, okay, indicate, indicate where you can be reached and when. Okay, take note when you give your cell phone numbers, those cell phone numbers that are functioning. Okay, hindi mo na ginagamit. Okay, be sure that you have a number that you can be accessed or that you can be reached immediately. Okay, who knows? Okay, that's why you are applying. You really are hopeful to be interviewed. Okay, so that's it in part of your conclusion. So later on, I will give you a sample, and then you would know the flow, yeah, the rhetorics of writing your application letter. That your application letter would compose of three major parts: your introduction, your body or the qualification sections, and your conclusion. Okay, moving on to guideline number 3. Guideline number 3, of course, you have to revise your letter to polish the image it projects of you. Now, how do we do this? You may ask your teacher to help you polish your application letter. You may also ask, let somebody read it and let somebody comment it. Okay, expert, okay, your English teacher. You may also ask your professor, okay, who can edit your paper, to polish your paper. Okay, let parang a third lens, okay, who could view or who could review your paper. Okay, so that would be guideline number 3. So if you're done, okay, scribbling your what do you call that? Type, including your application letter, have it checked, okay, by or double check. Okay? Go anay, and then have it double checked by somebody who is an expert of the letter writing, or you can let somebody read it. Okay, so that's it. So how are we going to polish? Okay, these are the things that we need to do. How are we going to polish the image that it projects you? Yung sinasabi kanina, especially in the body part or in all the parts of your letter, your personality can be revealed there. Kung humble ka or kung sobrang eri ka. Okay, so what are the things that we need to do? The clues to your interpersonal skills and personality. Okay, your application letter or your resume, these are the show windows of your personality. Okay, your interpersonal skills. Okay, when reviewing your own draft, pay attention to the personality you project. Yeah, employers will look into the values, your values. Yeah, employers will especially value your enthusiasm for the organization and for the work you would do there. Okay, so that's it. So be careful of stating your stories. Okay, here another clues of stating your interpersonal skills and personality. Okay, you want the tone of your letter to suggest to employers that you are self-assured but not brash or overconfident. There are things that we need to do. Okay, for example, here is a line that is showing or stating an overconfident tone. For example, when you say, I am sure you will agree that my excellent education qualifies me for a position in your design department. Naku, pagkabasa ng employee, like, may ere na ang batang ito because you are really so self-assured and at the same time you are bragging that your would-be employee would agree that you really are very excellent. Okay, so avoid that overconfident tone. Rather, okay, you may say this, for example. Uh, you can also say you might also sound very ineffective or demanding tone. Do not also do that. You may say, for example, I would like to meet you at your earliest convenience. Okay, okay. Please let me know this if this is possible. Okay, okay. Take note. There are notations that I have given there. To sound less demanding, revise the second sentence to read as, please let me know whether this is possible. Okay? And add, I look forward to hearing from you. Okay, more polite way of saying it. Okay? Not demanding. Okay? So here are the things that we need to know in writing your application letter. Okay, this will be your guide. Okay, so we have there the guide, the preliminary research that you need to do, that the one that I am telling, know each employer. Okay, determine as exactly as possible what the employer wants, anong gusto nila. You see, in their posting and their bulletins, for example, in their website, they would know what are the qualifications of the applicants. They will state that at least like this, at least with an experience like this. So take note. Yeah. Learn enough about the job and employer to tailor your letter to them. Yun ang tinatawag kanina, adapting it, contextualizing it to your would-be employer. So that's the first stage. Then take note of your address. Address a specific individual. If possible, do not just say the manager or do not just say the president. Try to know who the manager, who is the manager. Try to know the name of the manager or the president. Bayan ka lang sumiling the president or the manager. Kaya, address a specific individual. Okay? Then, in your introduction, take note, tell clearly what you want, okay? Then, persuade that you know the specific relevant things about the reader's organization. Convey that you like the company. Yun, showing your enthusiasm, okay? And then, in your qualification section, explain how the knowledge, yung tinasabi ko kanina, you do not just take the course, you don't just state the word experience, but rather you state there what are the skills and the learnings you have gained from those. Okay? Explain how the knowledge, abilities, and experiences described in your resume are relevant to the specific job for which you are applying. Now be sure that what is written in your resume, okay, and in your application letter, they should be aligned. Di rin nag-iimpake. Kaya, so, your conclusion part of your letter, sound cordial, not too demanding, okay, yet clearly set out plan of action. What is it that you would like to, what was it that you would like them to do when they receive their application letter? Again, you may state that you can make a follow-up, or you can state that you can be reached through this number or through this email address at, state it there in your application letter. Okay, so in writing your application letter, okay, use clear sentences with varied structures. Okay, use an easy to follow organization. Use a confident but modest, not demanding tone. Express the action in verbs, not nouns. Okay, verbs are very important, especially in the writing of your resume. Do not just say I am responsible of. Rather, you say, for example, analyze, design, created. Yon. Catchy kasi yun eh. Ah, okay. Or assisted or responded. Yon. So that's it. Express the action in verbs, okay, not in nouns. Just like when you say, I am responsible in or what. No. Later, I will give you an example. You use strong verbs, the one that I was telling you, instead of saying that you interacted to customers, you rather use it responded to 45 customers in a day or an average of 45 customers in a day. Take note, numbers are very important, okay? Because it will also talk of your efficiency, okay? So that's it. So for example, I don't have yet an experience with the previous company because I am still graduating, about to graduate. So you can also refer your on-the-job training. Okay, you can also refer that one or make a reference on your on-the-job training as your previous job. Okay, so that's it. Okay, to continue, your appearance of your letter look neat and attractive, but your do not have the notion that you will be writing it in a class band or simple band paper lang. Okay, look neat and attractive. Include all the elements of the business letter, the parts. Okay, yeah, the parts of a business letter. Yung take note also of the conventions of writing the letter. Okay, yeah. Then ethics in writing your application letter. Describe your qualifications honestly. Okay, yeah. Describe your qualifications honestly. Take note of this, ladies and gentlemen. Don't list degrees you haven't earned. Okay, yeah? Don't list offices you haven't served in or jobs you haven't held. Oh, just to add up. Okay, that's part of your ethics there, huh? And your personality. That you might be asked during the interview. Okay, can you please tell us your experience when you were the assistant manager of a certain company? So, waray ngayon. Okay, yeah? So ethics yan, describe your qualifications honestly. Next, don't list awards or other recognition you haven't actually received or you have not actually achieved. Mm-mm. Okay, di ba? The one that I told you, tell me, show me. Oh. Another thing to observe in ethics, okay, in your application letter and in your resume, don't take sole credit of things you have done as a team or a member. So if you are a member of the team, do not say nga, ikaw la. So take the credit also of others. Okay, so I am a member, one of the let us say, one of the members who created, who designed, ayan. Okay, because the credit will not be given only to you, okay, but to others also. Take note of that. So if you are a member of a team that, let's say, perform or that has a commendable work and that is also worthy mentioning in your application letter or in your resume, please, okay, do not take sole credit for things you have done as a team, okay, or as a team member. Another thing that we need to observe as part of our ethics in resume writing and in our letter writing, don't give yourself a job title you haven't had. Mm-mm. So kung hindi pa, okay, wag mamadali. Kung hindi pa doktor, wag muna. Then another thing is don't phrase your statements in a way that is intended to mislead your readers. Part of your ethics yon. Okay, so that's it. Avoid statements intended to mislead yon. Okay, misleading statements. Avoid statements also that are general statements or yung mga motherhoody. Yan. Mga motherhoody statements. Ano yung mga motherhoody statements, mga glittering generalities, so avoid them. Okay? And then the overall thing that we need to remember in your writing your application letter, show that you are aware of the reader's goals and concern when hiring. Okay? Take note. Okay? One of the questions that might be asked during the interview is the job description. Okay? You might be asked, if ever you will be hired, do you know your job description here? The things that you will be doing. So you have to be ready on those. Next, demonstrate that you are skilled communicator. Yon. Experts are saying if you have a very good command of the language, both written and in oral, you always have an edge. Yeah, you always have an edge. Okay, so it was discussed by Dr. Lemon a while back. Okay, that you need to have the confidence. Okay, and if you don't have this, my God, it will affect your communication skills. Okay, okay. Moving on, as promised, I want to give you some examples. Okay, yeah. An example wherein we can have a run through of our application letter. Okay, here is it. Yan. So you can take a picture or you can also have the book that I referred to. Take note, in the letter that I have given you, it's not just the letter that I have shown, splash on your screen. Okay, at first you have the return address. Your address, it should be complete. Another one, Jenny addresses, because it's Jenny Ryan, the one who wrote the letter. And then Jenny addresses a specific person. If possible, please look at that. The letter address it to a specific person, not just the manager, not just the president, or not just the CEO. Rather, the person who is the manager and the president of a certain company. Then the complete address, and then your what do you call that? Your salutation. Then with a what do you call that? With proper mechanics, which is a colon, not a comma ha, or not a semicolon. Take note of that. But other convention, dear ladies and gentlemen, they have what we call the open punctuation, but it's not yet maybe accepted by some other companies. When we say open punctuations, they will not put punctuations right after the salutation and the complimentary clause. All you have to do is just to be consistent. But to be safe, okay, they might not they might not be aware of what is an open punctuation is as a part of letter conventions. Okay, so just to be safe, just put their colon. Okay, yeah. So the movements of the letter are as follow. First, Jenny shows specific knowledge of the company and others and offers praise related to it, as I mentioned a while back. Okay, yeah. Now the letter reads, I was very impressed to read in marketing news that last year, Burdick added 7 national accounts to its clients list. I was especially interested to learn that this success is built upon the power of rapid response of computerized tools for marketing analysis developed by your personnel. See, it's a commendation to the company. And then Jenny stated that she wishes to pursue a goal that the employer pursues. So align the goal of Jenny and the goal of the company. So they are aligned. So she said here, I would very much like to work for Verdict as a research assistant, helping clients maximize sales. So that's the goal of the Verdict. And in particular, I would like to contribute to the success of clients in the electronics industry. So it will be stated there. Now, in the qualification section, Jenny explains the relevance of her courses to the job, okay, she is seeking. When she said both jobs, because previously she mentioned that she worked in selling to customers and to retailers. And then the learnings that she got, she said here, both jobs taught me how unreliable our intuitive predictions about consumer behavior can be, and how important it is to research the market before introducing a new product. Okay. In addition, my service as a vice president of the university's synchronized swim team has helped me develop my leadership and communication skills that will help me work efficiently with others in Burdick clients and employees. Okay, so Jenny explained the relevance of her courses to the job she is seeking. Also aligned to the organization, to that of verdicts. Okay. Also, Jenny tells how the abilities she developed in a college activity will benefit the employer, her leadership skills. And then she also highlighted the specific accomplishment she had. Okay. And then Jenny ended it with a conclusion by saying, I am sure you realize that the letter and resume of which I have enclosed can convey only limited sense of a person's motivation and qualifications. Next week, I will call your assistant to see if you are able to grant me an interview. Back a while back, you can also make a follow-up. So tell when are you going to make a follow-up. You're going to indicate it there. I hope that I may look forward to meeting you to discuss my credentials more fully or to discuss further my qualifications. So this will be the rhetorics and then the unfolding of your letter of applications. First, your introduction. Take note your enthusiasm. You can commend the organization. And then in the body part, take note that you need to state your qualification sections. Take note of your education and then how your education molded you, okay? And then your personality, interpersonal skills or personal qualities, okay, in your qualification section. And then your conclusion would be the next steps that you would want the organization to do or to perform. Here is another example. I think I need not to run through. Okay, just the same with Jenny, but then in another picture, or take a notice that still Ramon Perez addresses it to a what? Addresses a specific person. He did not only mention the manager or the president or the CEO, but rather he gave the name. Okay, and then in that letter also Ramon states the he wishes to achieve, okay, in the organization if ever he or she will be hired. Take note of that. Okay, the unfolding of the letter. And then also Ramon explains how his job experience would benefit the organization. Okay, so as stated also, I have highlighted it in yellow lines for you to focus into how how was it mentioned or how was it stated by Ramon. Okay, and then Ramon concluded it there by saying, would it be possible for me to meet you to discuss what I have to contribute to Medallion? Parang, he was asking if he will be entertained for an interview to discuss further his qualifications. If so, please call me at during the day. Okay, during the day because it will give the employer the cue when is the right time to call you. Okay, so you have to mention when is the right time to call you also. Okay, again, your conclusion would speak of your personality. Okay, since you will be requesting for the next step of your application, you are requesting that you would like or you would love or you would be glad to be invited for an interview. Okay, or you can also state that you are going to make a follow-up next week on and then about your application. You can also state it there in your application letter. Unlike before that you cannot state it there that you can make a follow-up. Now you can indicate that you can also make a follow-up for your application as your next step, okay, in your application. Okay, for the organization also to know that you are indeed enthusiastic for the job. Okay, so that would be for our application letter. So please take note of the body and then the way we write our application letter. Now, of course, your application letter has an enclosure. Okay. Now, the enclosure of your application letter or your cover letter, as they say, that would be your resume. Okay. Now, what's the difference? Sir, ano ba? Resume or curriculum vitae? Now, for you as a neophyte, mga bagong kagraduate lang, it is advised that you are going to write a resume, a one-page resume, or a one or two-page resume. Because a curriculum vitae is advisable, or it's advised to be prepared by the one who is already in position and he is or she is applying for a higher position. It's more of a CV. But for you as a neophyte, you can use a resume, one-page resume. Okay, so what are the things that we are going to write in our resume? Okay, what are the things that we are going to write in our resume? So before we write our resume and before we write our application letter, please take note also on this. Check your online presence. Anong tinatawag? Anong online presence? According to Davidson in 2014, okay, okay, 93% of hiring managers review applicants' profiles on social media accounts, especially Facebook, before making an offer. So please, okay, be responsible and be accountable of the things you post on your Facebook. Baka sa Facebook mo, nakikipag-away ka doon. And then you, in your timelines, meron ka doong mga that would speak of your personality. So be careful. So take note, everything now in this world can be accessed online. So please check your online presence. So this has already been proven. Kaya study by Davidson in 2014 that 93% of hiring managers review applicants' profile on social media, especially on in Facebook. Kaya, so please check your online presence. For my IG Cap, please also check your online presence because this will speak of you. Okay, your wall will speak of you. Okay, so take note of those things. Okay, so now we have now the guidelines in writing our resume. Guideline number 1: address your resume to specific employers. Okay, yeah. So what do we mean by addressing your resume to specific employers? Why? Because as I said a while back, you can also visit their website wherein you can do it online. Okay, so there are templates where just all you have to do is just to input, okay, there, and then submit. Click submit, and it will be submitted. Or it can be scanned, scannable, okay, scanned, and then it can be sent through what do you call that, online. Okay, so address your resume specific employers. There might be some template that you need to follow. Follow the template provided by the employee or of the organization, I mean, okay, or of your would-be employers. Okay, guideline number 2: define your resume's objective by learning exactly what your reader wants. Okay, yeah? So take note of the things. You can do this by doing research. What is it that the organization wants? Take note of that. Okay, so what employers seek in new employees? Number 1, they will be seeking, of course, for your technical expertise. Okay, Employers want to hire people who can perform their jobs adeptly, expertly, with a minimum on-the-job training. Kasi baka iti-train ka pa or what. So if you're already an expert on that, if you're already adept, okay, then no need to train you or minimal training, then they will hire you. They can give you, they can offer you for the job. So take note, your resume should have your technical expertise along or aligned to the job you are applying. Next is your resume should state your supporting abilities. Okay, most jobs require a wide range of abilities beyond the purely technical ones of your degree specialty. Okay, these often include interpersonal, time management, project management, and among others. That's why they have to look into their your Facebook accounts. Mm. They almost include communication skills at the same time. So the way you write your application letter, it should be error-free, okay, from grammar, spelling, even the conventions of letter writing with the spaces from the date and the inside address, and the salutation to the body to the complementary clause, and the signature, and then the enclosures. Take note of the spaces. Okay, yeah. Okay, so supporting abilities. So they will not only look into the technical abilities, they will also look into your interpersonal, okay, time management, and then your project management abilities. Okay, moving on. Okay, they will also look into favorable personal qualities. Okay, favorable personal qualities. Now, employers want to hire motivated individual, self-directed individual, and responsible individuals. They also want people who will work well with other employees, as well as with customers, vendors, and other outside organization. Okay, sometimes organizations would not look into your, sometimes not really your expertise, because it can be trained. Sometimes they would really bank into your emotional quotient. Okay, if you can get along well with others in the organization. Okay, so bahin ka lang makiaway. Okay, so that's it. How are you going to deal with people, dealing with customers, dealing with vendors, and other stakeholders of the organization? So these are the favorable personal qualities. So take note of that. So technical expertise, okay, favorable personal qualities, and then supporting abilities will support you. Okay, guideline number 3. Take note of our guideline number 3. Think creatively about the ways your knowledge and experience match the qualifications the employer wants. I hope you are so sensitive with the word I am using, alignment. So alignment with align your qualifications, expertise, and your knowledge to the needs of the organization. You always align that. Okay. So if I am the employer and then your qualifications are aligned, I would always say, pwede ining about that. Okay, take note of that. Guideline number 4, okay, choose the type of resume that will display your qualifications more effectively. So choose the type of resume. And then we have 2 types of resume, dear ladies and gentlemen. Number 1 is the experiential resume. Now, what do we mean when we say experiential resume? You organize information about yourself around your experiences. Later, I will also give an example using headings such as education, employment, and activities. Then I will show you what are the things that you are going to input in your education, along your employment, along your activities. Later, I will give you an example. Okay, now under these headings, you describe your experiences in ways that demonstrate that you possess the qualification the employer wants. Okay, so that's why you need to do a research. O dili kay, what are we doing is we prepare same resume and then give it to the same to the different organization. Again, tailor fit your resume to the organization because you need to align the needs of the organization and your expertise. Hindi na you already have a prepared resume tapos kung mag-apply ka sa isa at isa pang company, hindi mo iti-tailor fit. So you have to revise that. Okay? Okay, here is an example of resume by Ramon Perez. Okay, take a look at that. Ramon Perez resume. Okay, which is an example of an experiential, what do you call that? An experiential resume. Now, in that resume, as you can see it, first, there's no picture. Ay pagbutangin iyo picture. Oo. Ramon tells how he can be rich at work or at home. And then he tells what he will do to help the employer achieve its goal. That's why you need to have a research about the employer, okay, or the organization. Because again, you have to align. Okay. Ramon includes his excellent GPA. Include ba? Yes. If you have an excellent GPA, then you have to include that. It's part. But not so GPA, you may not. Okay. But good grades that would be aligned to the job that you are looking, then it can also be included. Okay. So according to expert. Now also Ramon emphasizes his preparation in both computers and business. Okay, but by saying computer classes include artificial intelligence and expert data communication. Okay, here in this corner, you do not just say that you are proficient in computer. Okay, you cannot just say you are proficient in computer. Rather, what are the programs you are proficient with? Then you have to mention it there. Later, it will be part of our. I will show it later. Samples. Then, Ramon emphasizes his preparation in both computers and business. Also, Ramon highlights his achievement in completing his degree while working in full. Okay, look at that. In our resume, these are not stated in complete full sentences. Take a look at that. They are stated in fragmented sentence, fragments. Okay, not full sentences or complete sentences. They're stated in fragments. Okay, and you would notice there's no period. Okay, di man hira sentences. Okay, so fragments and phrases. Okay, for example, work full-time while completing last half of coursework. Fragments, not a sentence. Okay, so take a look at that. Even the objectives. Later on, you will be taught on how are we going to write our objectives. Ramon also emphasizes his honors by giving them their own heading, honors. Okay. Dean's list 3 times. It would also be okay if you are going to specify the semester where you have been selected or where you qualified for the Dean's list. It would be better that way, for it shows that you are really showing the factual or authentic documents. Then Ramon lists specific on-the-job accomplishments. Take a look at the verb. Ramon did not only mention that he is responsible in the computerization section, in the accounting section, but rather Ramon used verb immediately, action verb, the one that I told you a while back, when Ramon stated that helped, served, trained, earned. Take a look at that. You do not just say responsible in, because it's kind of very weak statement. Okay, so help to convert a new computerized accounting section, served on the team that wrote user documentation for the system, train new employees. So take note of the verbs that you use. Verbs, action verbs, and then verbs that would speak of the things that you do. For example, analyzed, created, designed, trained, parang ganyan. Okay? Then, Ramon notes substantial responsibility that he was assigned. Okay? Perform all the type of daily, night, deposit, and so on. And then prove the vault. Okay, ordered currency. Take note of the verb. Ganito. When stating your verbs, state it in a simple past tense. State it in a simple past tense if you have done it already. Tapos na. But in present tense, if that is ongoing. So you would know that. Your would-be employer would know if the one is undergoing, ongoing pa, because the tense of your verb is in the present tense. Take note of that. Ramon emphasizes a specific achievement, naming the amount of money involved. And then he includes his reference in the lists. But not all the time, you will include the reference. For you, as a neophyte applicant, you can include. But if you are already working in an organization, tas mag-a-apply ka sa ibang organization, parang it is advisable not to put references. Because if you put references, it will give your present employees that you are applying for a job, because they will call the employer or the organization will call them. Rather, to be safe, you will just say there, or you will just state there in your resume, references available upon requests. Yan. Para dili ka madakop na nag-apply ka. So, references available upon request. But for neophytes and mga bago, then you can really, you really have to put the references. Okay? So, that is an example of, what do you call that? Experiential resume. Okay? Okay. So, here is another example of an experiential resume. Okay, by Jenny. And then the objective to conduct, market, and so on. And then you notice so most of them are stated in fragments, okay, and phrases. Okay, activities, take note of that. Okay. Okay, another type of resume is the skills resume. Okay, so sir, for us, the neophyte, what are we going to use? It's advisable, if you are bago ka pa lang, mag-a-apply ka pa lang, you are going to use the experiential resume. Because for skills resume, it is used if you are applying for positions, higher positions, or you already have a job and then you are applying for another position in another organization, you can make use of your skills resume na. Okay? But for your neophyte, you can still use, it's advisable that you use your experiential resume bago ka pa lang eh. Okay. So what's a skills resume is? You create key sections around your abilities and accomplishments using such headings such as your technical abilities, your management experience, and communication skills. That's why it's skills resume, because the management skill, the management experience, and the communication skills will help you achieve the present job that you are applying. Okay, so that would be an example. That would be for the skills resume. But what is important now, because for this talk, I'm talking for would-be graduates by May, mang-apply na kamo, so you'll use an experiential resume. Please. One page lang, experiential resume. Okay? Do not be nervous, Do not be nervous. Anong karugsigon ng nervous? You are so tawag flowery or damo nga yakan. Kaya, So you have to review your the words that you are going to input. Okay, so that would be for resume. Okay, number 5, drop your resume's text to highlight your qualifications again. Okay, how do you write your resume? Write concisely. Yun ang sinasabi ko na. Typically, it contains lists of sentence fragments and phrases, not full sentences. For example, wordy, conducted an analysis of the strength of the load-bearing parts. You can just say it concisely by saying, analyze strength of load-bearing parts. Take note, it started with an active verb, active verb past tense. Okay. Another one, be specific. Employers find generalities too ambiguous and unimpressive. Give precise details. Okay, general, you do the one that I told you a while back. Do not just say proficient on computer. Rather, you say specific. Okay, proficient in programming Linux, SQL, CAD, and PHP, and so on. So you have to be specific. Another one, choose the correct verb tense. I have explained that already. Use the past tense for activities completed. Use present tense for those you continue to perform. Okay, just like there in that example, completed activity, design automobile suspensions. Continuing activity, design aircraft landing gear. So you would know. Writing the objective of your resume. What I told you, take note. Identify the results sought by the department or unit in which you wish to work. Okay. Then state your objective. Okay. State that your objective is to help an employer achieve these goals or those goals. That is why, as I mentioned a while back, do not just prepare a resume and then submit to the same organization. Rather, the resume should tailor fit to the organization that you are applying. You might apply a teaching position in a university and then you might apply in a company. Iba ang resume dapat. Okay? So another thing is take a reader-centered approach. Now, when we say a reader-centered approach, not a writer-centered approach, take a look at that example. A writer-centered approach is you will just state your objective by saying a position as a computer system analyst in the field of development with an innovative and growing company. But if you're going to have it reader-centered, you can say to create software system that control inventory, ordering, and billing. So specific. Another one, facts to highlight about your education. Okay, in your education section. Advanced courses, okay, directly relevant to the job you want. Again, align. Course outside your major that broaden your range of abilities. You might have training that is aligned to the job you are applying. Internship, co-ops, assignments, or other on-the-job academic on-the-job training that are relevant. You can include that there. You can also include special projects such as your thesis, your project kung IT ka, ang imo program, maginhimo. Okay? Then you can also include academic honors and scholarship as mentioned in Ramon's resume. And then if you are given the chance to study abroad, o may mobility, nahingadto ka Japan, Yamagata University, for example, for our student teachers. So it can be an exposure. Training programs provided by our employers, and iyo mga on-the-job training. You can also include in your accomplishments, okay? Describe project you work on, problems you addressed, okay? Goals you pursued, products you designed, and reports you helped to write. Again, ayaw naman i-claim, wag namang i-claim na ikaw lang kung you are just a member. Kung marami kayo, you have to state it there na you are a member, one of the members of the team who developed like that, okay? Where possible, emphasize specific results, okay? Results, number of dollars earned, okay? For example, you have been assigned in a in sales, kung na-assign ka sa sales, o tumaas ba ang sales when you are handling the position? Additional units produced, okay, or extra customers served. So if your targets, for example, in that semester is, or in that period is 45 customers, but in your time, 60 customers, then it can be also included because it's a milestone, okay? You can also include your knowledge gain, be resourceful in highlighting things you learn that increase your ability to contribute to your future employer. Okay? The responsibilities given, that's why position held, okay? If you supervise others, say how many persons, okay, kung naging manager ka and then handling how many persons, you have to state it there. Okay, if you control the budget, say how large it was. Okay, kung nag-increase, wag na siguro kung nag-decrease kasi it would be a minus point to you. Employers will be impressed that others have entrusted you with significant responsibilities. So, to end my talk, kasi it's already 12:20. So, take a look on this. You can take a picture. In summary, you can do this as you write your resume. You need to have your preliminary research, as I said a while back. Okay, determine as exactly as possible what the employer wants. Create your keyboard list. Name and contact information. Enable employers to reach you by mail, by phone, by landline, whatsoever. Do not give numbers na cannot be reached. Ay, naman ka mo man hatag yung number na cannot be reached. Then objective, tailor to the specific job you want to. Again, do not forget the word alignment. Emphasize what you will give rather what you would like to get. What you can give rather what the organization can give you. Okay, what can you contribute to the organization? Next, take note of your education. Tell your school, your major, your date of graduation. Tingnan natin yung kay Ramon. BS, let's say B is Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education, major in English, then comma 2021. So, maaram. Then work experience, identify each employer's name and city and all. Activities, describe your extracurricular and community activities in a way that shows you are qualified for the job. Then take a look at your interests, okay? And then references, again, for the new ones, for the neophyte, you can put your references. For the Medina experience, you can put the references available upon request. Here, include only people who've given permission to be listed. If naman, you ask permission. Call first before they might call you. I have an experience wherein my students would call me and then really, companies would call me to do BI, background investigation, and they would really call you, okay? Include a mix of references who can speak about your performance in different contexts. O ayaw naman ang kaaway ka kasi alam na baka i-down ka doon. Okay. Omit personal references. Omit friends. Kung kaibigan mo, wag na. Okay? Kung family members, wag. Omit that. Okay, never including your references, yung tito mo, yung ano mo, because they're family, your friends. Okay? That's it. Okay, present the most impressive information first, using strong verbs. Don't take a look at that. Parallel construction, and then omit irrelevant information, correct spelling, grammar and punctuation, take note of them. Okay, the visual design, look neat and attractive. Highlight the facts that will be most impressive to your employers. Use headings, layout, and other design that will feature to help readers find specific facts quickly. And then ethics, yun ang sinasabi namin kanina. List only experiences, accomplishment, degrees, titles that you have actually had. Sinabi ko na yan kanina a while back. Avoid taking sole credit of the things. You did it with a team. Part yan ng ethics. And then, avoid statement intended to mislead others. So, avoid generalities. Okay? So, that would be all for my topic. That would be all for my topic. 1 hour and about 20 minutes. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Medyo topic. Kasi class to eh. I consider this one as a class. So thank you so much. At the end of this topic, I would like, especially to our graduating students, believe in yourself, push your limits, experience life, conquer your goals, and be happy, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. In Summer State University, we innovate, we build, and we serve. Thanks. And you can contact me through this. I will give my talk, the soft copy of my talk to Mom Smile. And then the reference of my talk can be there. It's Anderson, copyrighted 2018, bagong book yan. Technical Communication, a Reader-Centered Approach, the 9th edition, and it's printed in Canada by Designage Learning. Thank you so much. Okay, salamat po. I hope I have contributed something.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Redentor S. Valencia. Sir Dan, ang dami po naming natutunan sa iyo, and you're really a pro na pagdating sa writing application, letter, and resume. Thank you so much, Dr. Valencia, for giving us your time, even though we know you're very busy. Anyway, we have some questions here
Yes.
from our students. So I guess we'll only have two for Dr. Valencia to answer. First question, sir. Sir, should we use the format of the company or should we stick to the standard?
Okay. Two things that you need to consider. If that would be passed online, dear ladies and gentlemen, if that would be passed online, you have to stick on the template given by the company. But then if that would be prepared by you and then scan, then you need to use the convention. Follow the letter conventions. Take note that you are going to complete the parts of the letters. Okay? Yun lang. Be sure if the company has an advice. Ganito, prepare your visuals or prepare your what do you call that, your application letter or resume this way, then follow the template of the organization. I have been mentioning it many times over in my talk that you are going to tailor fit, you are going to tailor fit it to the organization you are applying. Diba? The word that I was using was alignment. Okay. Say for example, you are an IT and you applied in a company. The resume there that you are going to give would be different because you will be talking about programming. And say for example, sir, what about I am an IT and I would like to be an instructor? Of course, you are going to tailor fit again your resume to the school you are applying because it would be a different job. So tailor fit to the job that you are applying and the company, the needs of the company. Always take a look at that. Ang ginagawa kasi ng iba, what's wrong with us is submit lang tayo ng submit with one resume. Pakaka-prepare natin ng isang resume, sinasubmit lahat. Hindi pala yon. Ang gagawin pala for it to be effective, you tailor fit your resume depending on the needs of the company. Yon. Depending on the needs and the company because you are going to align there your expertise as to the needs of the company. Kasi sasabihin ng company, if you are going to prepare only one resume and then submit it to the other, organization. Sabi niya, ay meron naman kami ditong expert sa si Juan, expert naman siya sa Linux, sa ganito, mag-a-apply pa siya dito sa amin. Ang need namin ganito. That is the you have to tailor fit, okay? Tailor fit your resume and your application letter to the job that you are applying.
That is so loud and clear, sir. Thank you so much. And that also supports the question number two from one of our students, sir. He's asking, there are available templates of application letter and resumes in the internet. Do you recommend that we use them?
Yeah. I'd rather look for books. The one that I have given you, the one that I have given you as an example, it's a very typical, the convention. You always other if that would be in the net that you are going to do, be sure also on the what do you call that, the site that you are referring. Be sure that the site that you are what do you call that, consulting is also credible, depending on the site. There are universities. There are universities where they have they provide templates nga mas maupay. I would suggest that you look for sites promoted by universities when it comes to letter writing. But when it comes to convention, business letters, an application letter, as to punctuation, you can have it open or close. When we say close punctuation, yung may punctuation be after the salutation, which is a colon and a comma after the complementary clause. If that is an open punctuation, which is already acceptable, you just need to be consistent. There is no colon and there is no comma on these parts. So you can also, as to style naman, most of the time it's blocked format. Tingnan nyo kanina, walang indentation. Block format lahat siya. Okay. Sometimes, Miss Jess, it depends on the in the example that I have given you or that I have presented, there is a complete return address. Others we just have the date. And take note, when writing your date, take note that you do not abbreviate the date. Yon, in your letter. It should be written in full. March, bay mula ibutang dito ang March MAR, but in January JAND yon. So abbreviated yon. Diri pwede. That should be in full. Tapos,
Noted, sir.
you should know the spacing. Pero ang spacing hadi from the date and then the inside address. The inside address, how many space to the salutation to the body and then between paragraphs, the body and then the complementary clause and then the enclosure. Okay. I would suggest that you may refer to template, but check on the credibility of the site.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That is noted. Thank you so much.
Pero
Pahabol
kung
question po, sir.
university-based, kung school-based, mas maupay. University-based, school-based, kay others, they can provide that.
Okay, sir. Noted po. Pahabol question, sir. Sir, is it okay for us now to use an online grammar checker, like for example, Grammarly, for our...
The access, if you have the trial access, you can have about 5 runs. Ayun lang, don't stop in the first run. Sometimes hindi siya reliable. So what do is we do it for it to be very what do you call that, effective. You do it how many runs? Anong ibig sabihin? Hindi ka madalagan, ha? How many runs? So run it first, run yan na, then check, i-rerun, may dinaliwat ito. Rerun up to the time perfect.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir Dan, do you have any things you would want to add up to end your talk?
Yeah, another thing is if you are going to look in or to consider on the templates, others are just copying verbatim. Ginbabaguhan, binabago lang ang pangalan at ang position. But nakakatawa. Hindi na itini-tailor fit. So parang if I am the employer, uh, kinopya lang. So, wala, put effort. You need to invest effort. Sinasabi kanina, the one mentioned by Ma'am Lemon before she ended her talk. You need to read. My God. Read, 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 read. My God. Reading will really help us. Oh, di ba? According to Emily Dickinson, there is no frigate like a book that takes its lens away. So, if you read, my God, your vocabulary will be enriched. You will discover a lot of things. You will discover a lot of pieces of information as you read. Okay, and then as you read, there will be many times wherein you will have the eureka, the aha effect. No, I know it. No, I got it because of the reading. There might be questions before that you have. And then as you read, then doon nakakasaring ka, oh, okay, I got it. Nakakaada ka hindi eureka effect, the I got it effect as you read. Invest on reading, invest in time of painstaking the writing your paper, and then be humble enough to show it to those person who can help you. Yun lang.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Redentor Espalencia, for sharing to us your expertise on creating an impressive and effective application letter and resume. I am sure that our students will indeed do what you said, and they will be able to create an impressive and effective application letter that will be a doorway for them to get an interview.
Yeah.
So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. And for us, sir, to express our gratitude to you as our lecturer for this morning, may we present to you this certificate of appreciation.
Once again, good morning. Good afternoon na pala. Thank you for having us. So, thank you Riden for accepting our invitation.
My pleasure. Kapag okay na yun, smile, kahit walang certificate.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We got a pool of experts this morning sharing with us how to ace pre-employment and how to be on land on a perfect job for you. And thank you so much to Dr. Maria Isabel Limen for sharing to us the etiquettes for virtual interviews, and of course, our very own Dr. Redentor Espalencia for talking and sharing to us the topic, creating an impressive and effective application letter and resume. We are all so honored to have you with us this morning. Thank you po, sir. Thank you so much po.
Pleasure to serve SSU.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Later this afternoon, we will have the topics on the available employment opportunities on a pandemic, strategies for job searching during a pandemic, and the labor laws and related topics. And these are very crucial topics that we must all take and learn. So later this afternoon, we are still expecting you to join us for the continuation of the pre-employment preparation talk. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We already have sent to you our attendance link. You may click that here on our Zoom chat box and on our Facebook comment section so that your attendance will be recorded by our facilitators. Once again, a reminder for all of us who are watching right now and for our Facebook viewers, our attendance link and evaluation link will be available until the end of the month. That's it for the day, ladies and gentlemen. See you at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Thank you, everyone, and God bless.
Let us sing of gladness for alma mater race. Come, ye classmates, friends, and comrades, let her glory be your praise. May your lasting light be our guide as we leave our portals wide. SSU only ever in our hearts will this refrain. Faith will lead us to our destiny of success or adversity. Yet to the name we give our loyalty. Alma mater, hail to thee. In the ivy halls of learning, all the wisdom thou hast gained, shaping lives for home and country, for our nations great and free. Sing we of her fame and honor, carry we her banner high. On and on we march to victory, broad and bold forevermore. SSU, our beloved school, we will cherish your name for us.